just put yourself in that situation. Like, I feel like just the amount of like, I feel like he truly had to be up there and like in 100% character of like, I am presenting this award, I am hosting right now or whatever, for it not to have that natural reaction to come out. So,
he didn't cuss.
Right.
He didn't swing back. He didn't even seem like he flinched.
Right.
Which is why I think it was still fake to this day. But if it did happen, it's still like, wow.
Right.
That's very poised.
Very.
All right, we're out. Y'all know she's hitting with the random dance moves each time. You never know. But the dance move that Will Smith did was definitely a Millie Rock. It was a whop. It was for sure a Millie Rock. But there's a few different perspectives that I think we can look at for the slap. All right. So first perspective that I want to talk through. Go ahead, Queen.
Just really, we don't know when people are going to be listening to this.
You're right.
And people may live under a rock as well. So before we jump into it, just in case you are under a rock and you don't know exactly what we're talking about, can we
please do give some context?
Okay. So this past Sunday at the Oscars, this was, I don't remember which Oscars,
March 30th or 31st, 2022.
Oscars happened, and Chris Rock was presenting an award and made a joke.
Chris Rock during that time was a comedian. I'm not sure what he's going to do after this, so people may not remember what Chris Rock was or did.
Yes.
He's a comedian and an actor in this time.
Yes.
Okay.
And for additional context, Will Smith and his wife, Jada Pinkett Smith, were sitting in the front row.
Will Smith is also an actor, formerly known as the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
Thank you. And so Chris Rock made a joke about Jada Pinkett Smith being bald. We don't know whether he knew or not, but he claims to not have known that she's actually been dealing with alopecia, which is a disease where you lose your hair. And so she's been very public about having struggles with that. So that joke did we assume rubbed her the wrong way, and also rubbed Will Smith, her husband, the wrong way. And so Will Smith actually walked up onto the stage during the award ceremony and slapped Chris Rock across the face in front of national television, in front of the whole live audience. And Chris Rock did his best to go on with the show. And maintain his professionalism, if you will. But that is the episode that the event that we are talking about, the slap.
Boom! Thank you for that context, Queen. That was well done. So I want to look at a few different perspectives. First off, I think as a married couple, and we can even dive a little bit deeper as a Black married couple. What was it like for you to witness a husband? I don't know if protecting is the right word, but protecting his wife in that manner.
So I need to preface how I found out about this, because I think naturally that tainted how I looked at the video when I first saw it.
Okay.
So I actually found out about it through an influencer, a father influencer that I follow.
Belief.
Yes, through Belief in Fatherhood on Instagram. So that is how I first found out about it, because his post popped up and said that it is important for a man to publicly protect his wife in front of everybody, because that's not seen enough, basically. And to summarize what he said. So of course I'm like, well, what did I miss? So that's when I went and kind of dug up and went to the shade room naturally to figure out what happened.
Of course.
But that is what I saw first, of like, okay, so let me go see what husband was protecting his wife. So I think that did frame how I watched the video the first time. Of course, now having watched it multiple times, I've now kind of got a little bit of a different take onto it. But I do think that aspect of it was I don't know if comforting is the word to say, but it was nice to see the the lengths, I guess, that a husband would go to protect his husband, to protect his wife. I'm not going to say again what I thought about it, like right or wrong, but I'm just saying emotionally, right? That was one positive thing that I did take away from it, is that.
Yeah. So I just want to bring up the definition of protect.
Okay.
Real quick, because I think, yes, in some forms or fashion, people may see him as protecting her. But when you look at the definition, it says to keep safe from harm or injury. What harm or injury was he keeping her from?
And I don't think I used the word protect. I said stand up for. Or did I say protect?
We can listen back.
Okay. Then.
I believe I heard the word protect.
And we've talked about that. Yeah, I don't know that he was necessarily protecting, but more like standing up for, which are, in my opinion, two different things.
I'll take that.
Yeah. So it was nice to see him stand up for his wife. Do I think he could have done it in a better way? Yes. But the actual act of him standing up for his wife was nice to see.
Right. So lesson here, right? And I want us to, we're a married couple, right? One, what does protection look like for you, right? For me out there, whether we're at the Oscars, whether we're movie theater, we're at a juicing bar. What does
you know what goes down at the juice bar?
Hey, the juice bar, it gets real sometimes, all right? Look, they know jujitsu in there. But what does protection look like for you?
I think just making it so that I feel safe. So in whatever space or whatever context that means, like allowing, because I feel like in order to be yourself, you have to have that basic need of feeling safe in that moment, to be really even be allowed to be yourself. So I think as a husband, it feels nice that when we're walking down the street, like even like we do our daily walks, and you're very adamant about standing on the outside of the sidewalk, right? Those little things are nice, because I know at any given point you are somehow taking that role of trying to make me feel safe. And that, again, even it's almost the intention that provides even that extra level of comfort than it is so much the action that you're taking.
Nice. I like that. So for me, what I'm struggling with is that protection comes with violence.
Yeah, it shouldn't have to.
Right? I don't think it should have to. And I think that's one of the lessons that the false lessons I think is coming from this the slap, the Will Smith debacle, right? Is if you're going to protect your wife, it needs to look like this. It needs to look like violence. You need to be going up on stage. You need to be pulling up on somebody. And I think that's a dangerous narrative, because we already have that narrative when it comes to protecting our own personal manhood. Right. If someone presses you as a man, you're supposed to do something. So now, if someone presses you as a man, but also if someone does something to your woman, violence supposedly is the answer both ways. And I think that gets a slippery slope for Black men in public.
Now, and we did talk about this. It's not to say that protecting may not mean violence in certain cases.
Exactly.
In my opinion, this was not one of those cases, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't ever lead to violence. If it is a violent situation and somebody is physically harming, your wife or another person, obviously you may need to step in, and that may have to be a part of the solution. But yeah, if it's just words being spoken, I don't know that that violence is really the answer, the correct answer, if you will, for that.
Right. Now, I also think we need a code, right? I think married couples, I think we kind of already have our unspoken like signals and stuff to each other, but I feel like there needs to be a code, right? So we have our code word, which is hippopotamus.
Oh, you were just gonna say the code word. Now we have to change the code word.
Do we?
Yeah. What if some random person sees this? They walk down the street, they say it. I'm like, oh wait, I heard it.
No. If you hear me say it, it's not if you hear a random person say it. All right, we can switch up the code word. But long story short,
what's code about it if everybody knows it?
We got 18 listeners. All right, I'm gonna be real with you.
Right now,
Sinclair. We got 18 listeners. So having your code word, right? What's his, Kevin Hart said his code word was pineapples. Pineapples when you've had enough, or have a code word when it's time to go. Like, this is not a good situation. They're surrounding us over there. That person don't know you. Oh, is that a hippopotamus? We out here, right? I feel like there also needs to be a code word when you feel unprotected and you need either physical protection or the next level protection, right? Is that a word? Is that a look? Is that a tap? What do you think? Because some people think that Jada gave Will a look,
a symbol,
some type of signal,
yeah,
right? Whether it was her head down, whether it was the stone cold face, like I'm not laughing, this ain't funny. But some people think that okay, she did something, gave him a signal, and Will Smith was like, it's time to roll, right? Which I 100%, if that's what happened, respect it. If she gave the signal and they've had a conversation, like, hey, if this happens, if I do this, you know what time it is. Will, that's like, all right, yeah, your wife gives you an order. Hey, Brad, you gotta go to war. Like that's what it is. So, what is your war signal, Sinclair?
I don't know. I feel like it should probably be a word, only because I wouldn't want, depending on what's being said or what's happening or whatever, like I may have a natural reaction that I don't want to be misconstrued as right. If all of a sudden I'm like, not us. I may just be Millie rocking, and that's just me dancing. That don't mean I need you to go whack somebody on the.
Okay, noted.
But so yeah, it's probably a word just because it should be something very intentional that I do so that it's go time versus if it's like a look or I squeeze you, like that could be something I think outside of that situation that I might do. If just something crazy is going down, that doesn't mean that I need you to go jump into action. So we'll think of a word.
Let's do that.
My name is Sinclair, and I'm a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner who has created a program that takes a deep dive into your hormone levels and your overall metabolic health to create a highly personalized weight loss protocol that will have you lose up to 30 pounds, gain energy, and have you feeling so good that you go into the back of the closet and pull out that freakum dress. We all have one. So if you are ready to invest in the last weight loss program you will ever need, go to queen2queencoaching.com and book a discovery call to figure out which queen to queen package is right for you. Talk to you soon.
A separate code word from the one you all just heard.
Yeah, let's do that because I think that is very important. And brief conversation with my dad downstairs. He was talking about like we don't know what the dynamic of what with Will and Jada was, to where if he didn't act, what the climate would have been like back home,
right?
And at the end of the day, that's what matters. Like, is your wife happy? Is your family happy? Is your home a happy home? So I feel like if you know what those signals are and you communicate ahead of time, hey, if I say this, I expect this. If I do this, I expect that. Then there's no miscommunication. You're able to execute. Right? Now, the flip side of this. You know where I'm going?
No.
Oh, okay. You said as in you were like, yeah, let's talk about that. Something that I do want to talk about is the professionalism.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know that's kind of where you're going.
Yes.
That man.
I want to talk about the professionalism.
If I was about to be like, the price is going up. Look what I've endured, and I'm saying character.
Look what I've endured. Bane came to my head when as soon as I hear endured, like Bane comes to mind. But the fact that he was able just to keep his composure after getting slapped and not say anything extra, right? He held it back. He did say, "Oh, I just got slapped on national television. It's the best day ever," and kept it pushing.
Right.
I felt like it was very impressive.
Very
impressive. Anything you want to say before I take it into what the podcast will be about for like the next 10-15 minutes? We're going somewhere with this, y'all. But go ahead, Queen.
No, just to echo, like, just put yourself in that situation. Like, I feel like just the amount of like, I feel like he truly had to be up there and like in 100% character of like, I am presenting this award, I am hosting right now or whatever, for it not to have that natural reaction to come out. So,
he didn't cuss.
Right.
He didn't swing back. He didn't even seem like he flinched.
Right.
Which is why I think it was still fake to this day. But if it did happen, it's still like, wow.
Right.
That's very poised.
Very.
Right. And where I want to lead it to is, how do you react, or better yet, how do you respond when life slaps you in the face?
Yeah.
Right. How do you respond when you're You're standing up there, you're giving your speech, you're working your 9 to 5, you're working your entrepreneurship career, you're parenting, whatever it is you're doing in life, the universe just comes and hits you with the whop. Right? Well, what's your response? What's your reaction to that? And I think some of us, we don't think about how we respond to quote unquote failure, to negativity until it happened and we're in the hole and we're like, dang, how we get here?
Yeah.
Right? So I want you to think about an example of when the universe, when life, when things just slapped you, it didn't go according to plan, and how you were able to respond, whether it was negative or positive, and maybe how you can learn from that. Right? Because again, lessons from this, the man was poised, professional, and he even issued an apology later on.
Apparently, we're not sure if that was actually that issued it.
He got hacked.
It's possible.
Oh,
that's
goodness.
Listen, the juice that Grandy gave. It might not be. It might not be. I think it was. It might have been a fake apology from somebody that was not Chris Rock. Will Smith did apologize, but I guess Chris Rock has not officially said anything.
Interesting. Okay, I'm not gonna go through that rabbit hole, but I know one for sure example that I have, and Queen, again, marinate on yours. But I would say is the Kickstarter. I'm like every single time when I think of failed moments in entrepreneurship, the Kickstarter always comes to mind. And for those that don't know, in 2017, we tried to do a Kickstarter for Black Wall Street, the board game, first edition. We were like, "Ooh, it's a good idea." I was, watching some Dame Dash videos, and again, he was like, "If you're real, you ain't gotta promote, you ain't gotta market, you just gotta put it out there, and people are gonna love it." And I was like, "Yeah, people are gonna love this. This game is real. I'm real. Let's do it." Didn't happen. Got smacked, right across the face with the Kickstarter. If you don't know how Kickstarter works, you set a goal. If you meet that goal, you get the money, and then you have to give people the products, the board games, the shirts, the puzzles, whatever it is. If you don't meet your goal, everyone gets their money back. You don't get any money, and you're just nada. You're just starting at ground zero again. So we set a goal high, ambitiously. Again, wasn't listening to the Queen, wasn't listening to anybody. I was like, "This is my first product. I'm going. I'm real. Dame Dash said I can do it." I was feeling myself.
Dame Dash thought he was talking to a bunch of Dame Dashes.
Yeah, he did. Well, one day he will be, but he wasn't that day. So, yeah, set the goal for like 28,000 or something very optimistic and ambitious. We got like $4,000, right? So we got none of the money. And I was like, dang, in a hole, like maybe a week, 2 weeks tops. It's like, dang, am I real? Am I an entrepreneur? Dame Dash said this is someone that I look up to, someone I see as a virtual mentor. Am I cut out for this entrepreneurship game? Can I even do this? Do people like the product, or is it a bad idea? Just whole whirlwind, right? And it took a solid week to 2 weeks to really be like, no, we believe in this. We're going to do this. I think I messed up at the beginning by not marketing, by not promoting. So let me learn that lesson, and let's hit the pavement. Let's do it. So then, long story short, we put out Black Wall Street Board Game again. And as y'all know, we've been rocking for 4, almost 5 years now with the game, multiple editions. We got cartoons, we got books. We're selling games literally all over the world. So it worked out. But there's tons of other, I think, entrepreneurs and even other ideas I've had that fail, and you get stuck right there in that failure.
Yeah.
Right. You're not able to bounce back. You're not able to respond. You react emotionally and say, "Oh, I'm not an entrepreneur. Oh, I'm not real like Dame Dash." And you go back to living the normal lifestyle that you are used to, that's comfortable, instead of pushing yourself this way and being uncomfortable. Right? Queen, what you thinking?
So I don't have a one singular slap moment as Will Smith or as Chris Rock, really. And you did a failed or slap moment. But what I'm going to bring up is the just transition from being a 9-to-5 to a full-time entrepreneur. That's been a very slow motion slap.
Is it a slow motion slap, or is it one of those quick smack?
Yeah, a little bit of that. Yeah. Pop, pop, just toss me around a little bit, just all over the place. So I think that, I think coming from being successful in a 9-to-5 job and then jumping into a completely new industry is one of the most humbling things that you can ever do. Or I don't want to speak for everybody. That is one of the most humbling things that I have ever done. And that's because you get to a certain level. And we've talked about this in my podcast before, but I did get to a certain level in my 9-to-5 where truthfully, I didn't have to work that hard to get the results.
Yeah, you was balling.
It was just, I had become good at doing something that I really wasn't passionate about, but I had worked the system. I had figured out like, this is what I need to do to, be successful, to keep getting these promotions, to whatever. But I think like when you take that leap to get, go full time, you have to change that mindset because entrepreneurship is a totally different game, whereas your results coming back is equal to the amount of, I'm saying exactly equal, but it is tantamount to the amount of effort you've put in. So again, the 9-to-5 is you show up, you do enough and you're going to get paid the same paycheck every week. That is a very different mindset than the entrepreneurship world where you can have a really good week and then you have a really bad week. And then if that is your reality, every other week is a good week and every other week is a bad week, your results are going to be the same. Right? Where you may have a good week and then you may have a really sucky week where you're getting money and then you're not getting any money. And then especially at the beginning, why it's so rough is because you may go months with nothing.
Talk about it.
You may go months with just holding on to faith, right? That this is going to pan out, that, the results are going to come. That is really a really hard time to work through. Again, if you are a person who is used to success or used to getting those results without putting in like that much, without putting in your all, right? So then you go to the entrepreneurship world and you're putting in your all, you're doing it, and you may have 0 people come to your masterclass twice. You may put out all these Facebook posts or these Instagram posts and you think you're gonna get all these likes and you get 5. Like these little, just little these little humbling moments, right? Yeah. But the idea is that you stick with it until all of a sudden you get 2 clients in 48 hours.
Man,
right?
Let's go.
And it's like, okay. And I literally got to the point, I think last week we were walking and I was like, I literally said, universe, just give me a little nugget. Just give me a little sign that I'm doing something right. I'm going in the right direction. And then boom, this week got 2 clients, and that has not happened yet. Right. So I think that it's the idea that, and I like what E.T. said. I just talked to Palumi about this too, about the universe keeping tabs, right? So you put in the work, especially in the world of entrepreneurship. You put in the work, you have to just hold faith that the universe is keeping tabs for all the work you put in, and it will pay off eventually. Where most people are unsuccessful in the world of entrepreneurship, they just stop before the returns come. Right? They stop before the universe is like, wait, hey, we know you put out all this work. We got all these blessings that are about to come for you. You just gotta wait out. You just gotta hold on for another couple months. You just gotta wait out another year, and then all these blessings are gonna come to you. So yeah, long story short, these last 3 months have been a series of but I'm just starting to see a little bit. I know I'm not out the woods, right? It is a constant journey, but to just get to the point where you have a little bit of a tangible result come feels good. And it's like, that's the little bite you need to keep going.
Yeah. So I had to write some things down. You were saying some good stuff. You said something about being used to success, right? And then when you switch lanes and you don't have that same success, it feels very, very uncomfortable.
Yes.
I think, what if people are used to failure? And then they feel the success, and that success makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah, I think that's imposter syndrome, basically.
Okay.
Or like that can lead to imposter syndrome. That can lead to self-sabotage. And we've talked about this. I don't remember in what context before, but the idea that you reach a certain point, you're not used to seeing all of that. You're wondering if it's sustainable, and then you may do something to self-sabotage so you do go back to comfort. At the end of that day, our mind, bodies, our souls, everything is really wired for comfort. You want to stay in comfort because comfort is survival, right? So I think no matter what it is, whether it's good or bad, the minute you step outside of your comfort zone, you can have those things that start to pull you back, and those things can be yourself. So yeah, I think that that happens probably to most people once they start reaching that success.
You deserve it.
Yeah.
All right. Whoever's out there listening, maybe you're used to working a 9-to-5 job. Maybe you're used to people not affirming you, giving you your props that's due. You deserve it. Right. When it comes to you, make sure you don't avoid it, and make sure you don't block your blessings. Right. Accept those blessings, because it may come disguised as something else, and you don't know it's a blessing yet. Accept it. Right. That's your blessing. The next thing kind of works into blessings is, what if the slap is the blessing, right? What if, you're a Chris Rock and maybe you joke too much, right? And you talk about your friends too much, or you make money off of your friends, or you're, putting them down in order to look up in another's position, and a Will Smith or a life event comes and it smacks you to let you know, like, hey, you need to stop doing that. Right. You need to go in this direction instead. Or I think, the pandemic and what's happened was a slap for a lot of people, negatively and positively, but it gave you that time to really sit down and be like, am I happy in my job?
Right. Am I happy in my relationship?
Am I happy in this relationship? Right. Do I know my kids? Right. So when you get slapped, don't always, again, react. I think a reaction is coming from a primal place, coming from a reptilian place, where you just want to do exactly like what your mind or what your emotions are saying to do, but instead really sit back, observe, and be able to respond to the situation and be like, okay, well, this happened. What does this moment really allow me to do now?
Right.
Right.
I actually respect Chris Rock for it. I think the fact that he didn't react in the moment, but he's whatever he's doing, he's really thinking through his response, which I think is, I respect that, and that's something I would do. So I empathize with that. But no, I think you're right. It's like, and I think in certain circumstances that natural reaction may come, especially like when we talk about a physical reaction. I think it's when we say like kind of hold back that primal response makes a little bit more sense. But you have to do that with your emotions too, right? I think for some situations, it's okay to let that primal response come out. Again, if we're talking like emotionally, just because I think if that's part of how you work through it, addressing whatever that response is, that's fine. But make sure you move past that, which is, why am I feeling this way? What brought this response out? Why do I feel depressed? Why do I feel sad? Why do I feel angry? Like, listen to what that emotion is telling you, so that you know how to move forward with that. So yeah, like for me and this whole entrepreneurship, it was that I was attaching my self-worth to my identity as an entrepreneur.
Now we're talking.
Right. So that's what I learned from mine. It's like, why am I feeling some type of way about myself because nobody showed up to my masterclass? Well, it's because I'm thinking like, well, you're your trash health coach because you couldn't get anybody in your masterclass. Well, I know that's not true. Right. So I think it's like telling yourself, like, everybody starts out this way. Everybody starts out with struggling to get one person to their show or whatever. Everybody starts out that way. So you just have to realize, like, this is your start, and it's only going to be this way as long as you keep grinding, you keep going. It's only going to be this way right now. Right. But you have to just humble yourself to realize that, like, this is the start, and you're going to have to push past it. And the way to success is to get past this point right now. Right. And it's just to take the next step. Right. Great. I had 0 people come. Well, next month I'm going to get 5.
Let's go.
Right. And then the next month I'm going to get 10. And then the next month I'm going to get 20. Right. And just keep going. But don't let that, like, again, me feeling that way, I felt it and I recognized it, but then I asked myself, why are you feeling this way? And I think that has helped me as I move forward, detach myself a little bit from the results that I get, so that I know no matter what, how many people come to whatever, no matter how many clients I have at the moment, right? I'm still a great health coach. I still have a gift to provide to the world. And I'm still going to keep at it, but not to think of myself any less.
Yeah. So a lot of thoughts are running through my head, and this outline is clearly going out the window. Y'all know we try to stick to the outline. It rarely happens, to be honest with you. But what's coming to my mind, what helps me in those moments is, this is gonna sound slightly egotistical, but that's okay, is looking at your life like it's a movie. right? And y'all know I love movies, love documentaries. So like looking at your life as if you are Batman, as if you are Michael Jordan in The Last Dance, as if you are Kanye in Genius, right? Like was it Genius? Yeah, Genius. Genius. But look at your life and try to see it as a movie. And in every single movie, literally, it's like it's in the script.
At least every comedy.
In every movie, there's a dark moment of the soul, right? And this is when the protagonist really questions their own worth, their mission. Should I give up? Should I proceed? You see it in Harry Potter. It's in the movie Hitch. It's in Batman. It's in the Avengers. Like in every single movie, there's a dark moment when the protagonist doesn't know if they're gonna make it or not. Right?
What is that called?
The dark moment of the soul, dark night of the soul, something like that.
I thought I've heard it referred to as another word, but I can't remember. So keep going.
Okay. But there's a moment when that happens.
All is lost.
Yeah, all is lost, right? Same situation. There's a moment when all of that happens. You see the Queen's been picking up on some of the screenwriting notes. You know what I'm saying? She
we in the industry.
But if you know that you're the protagonist in your movie, and everybody is the protagonist in their own movie, everyone's the hero of their own story. You can't have your own hero's journey without the all is lost moment. But the thing is, in almost every movie, we know the protagonist comes up, right? We know Batman's going to win. We know the Avengers are going to beat the enemy. We know that you're going to win at the end of the movie. And if you know that in your own story, I think that gives you a little bit more confidence to get out of that all is lost moment and get to the next scene. Get to the next scene so that you can get to that end of the movie. And that's what I love about watching documentaries like Save the Last Dance with Michael Jordan, because you see the last dance, he wasn't always popping. Right, he had struggle moments. You see, in Kanye's documentary, he wasn't always popping, right? But he was always Kanye. Yeah, people didn't always open the door. People didn't always listen to his music. People didn't always understand his music. But he was always Kanye. He kept on going until now. He's one of the best to ever do it.
Right. I just thought about the moment, the parts in that documentary where he's playing into those random people in their offices that are trying to do their work. Like that's another thing. Like if you think about like if that's the slap for you, right? You over here thinking he's always thought of himself as he is right now, right? But he's trying to play his music for free to some people in their offices, and they're like, "Can I get back to work?" Right? That's like that humbling moment. Right. But I'm sure he looks back at it now, right? Like, that's funny, y'all. Right? Y'all, all y'all people, right? But just think about, that is a good point. I feel like I do that sometimes too, is think about how this is going to look in the future after you've reached your goals and all that success, right? It's going to look so small. It's going to look so like, wow, do you remember when we used to be tripping about people coming to our master classes, stuff like that. So I think that can be helpful of like, just think about, and don't think about it as like Infinity War. Think about it as like Endgame. The reason I say that is because we all know how Infinity War ends. I was depressed at the end. I don't know about you, but you do get that all hope is lost. That's the end of the movie, and you're just stuck with that. There's a sequel. There is a sequel. There's a sequel to your life. There's always going to be the time when it comes up for you, right? So I think that can be another thing. And I apologize if this goes into another tangent, but don't let even the timeline of your slap moment or whatever, don't compare it to other people's either, right? Because for one person, it may be they just had a bad year in their life and now they've turned things around and now they're uber successful. For other people, it may be a bad 5 years. It may be a bad decade. It may be, I was in this place for 20 years and now I'm trying to turn it around. Whatever it is, it could be a bad day, a bad month, but don't compare yourself to others, because I think that can be dangerous too. Is everybody's in their own story, right? And everybody's in their own movie. Sometimes you get short films, right? And then you got your full-length movies. Then you've got the
Fast and Furious 15.
And you've got the Netflix series that have been going on for decades. So just realize that everybody's their own protagonist in their own story, and you can't compare another person's journey to yours. So just keep that in mind too.
Love it, love it. If you're rocking with us, if you're watching on YouTube, go ahead and give us a like. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, iHeartRadio, all those lovely things, make sure you give us a like and leave a review on the podcast. We greatly appreciate you. Now we're going to get into the Ask Declare segment. All right, and
we do someone that said, I love this. Thank you for the insight.
Oh,
You're very
of course.
welcome.
We appreciate you. Let's see. Can you show that on the screen? I got you.
Boom.
Oh, we appreciate you. Okay, Ask Declare. So I already said the definition of protect. Well, I'm going to do it one more time. Protect is to keep safe from harm or injury. Okay, so this is it's preventative, right? You do this before something actually happens. All right, and I think sometimes people think protection is a reaction. Protection is before. It's premeditated protection.
Right.
Okay. So the question for you, Queen, is what do you do to protect yourself? Whatever that means, with emotionally, physically, but what do you do to protect yourself?
So what I do to protect myself and my emotions sometimes clashes with the way that you like to manifest. But
this is a fact.
The way that I protect my emotions is to not get too excited. I know that sounds weird, but I feel like there's some out there. I got a group of people out there that's like, yep, I know what you're talking about. So for me, if when I'm all in on something, like I'm all in, I'm an analytical person. I be thinking about every little detail, every little thing that can go wrong, right? I put everything into it, and I do that because I expect it to go a certain way, right? I expect a certain outcome. And when I do that, when I go all in and I go into that mode, I attach myself emotionally, I am disappointed. The same level of excitement is the same level of disappointment I feel if it doesn't go that way. So, right, if I get real excited, that means that's cool. It feels good in the moment. It feels good beforehand. But in the situation when it doesn't happen, now I'm really sad. I'm really disappointed. I'm like, wow. What was this all for? Like, I know that I have those highs and lows. So what I've learned to do myself, just to protect my emotions, is to just detach a little bit and not get too excited at the start of something. That doesn't change the amount of work I put in. But I don't allow myself to get too excited, so that if for some reason it doesn't go the way I want, I don't have to pull myself out of that trench. I can just keep going. So yes, I feel like sometimes that does clash with the king, because he does like to dream big and he does like to think about, well, what about this and what about that and what about that? And I do participate in that, but at some point, sometimes I have to just, like, when I feel myself like getting into that mode, I do have to just take a step back and be like, this is great, but also allow room for that one outcome that you all have been talking about to not be the only outcome, right? Because we all know the phrase of, like, if you want to hear God laugh, tell him your plans, right? We have these ideas, and it may not go exactly according to plan, because there's a better plan out there. And it may be hard to see that in the moment, but I just like to protect myself from being so down, because I know it's hard for me to get out of that down moment, pull myself out of the trenches. So for me, just to stay a little bit more even keel, is I think is easier for me and better for me to be able to just keep going with the work. So I think managing emotions while trying to keep the work going is very hard for me. So I just try to stay a little bit more even keel, like, yes, that would be great if that happened. So let's get back to the work to try to make it happen. But I just try not to stay so long in the dreamland, because that's when I get very emotionally attached to ideas, and that can be hard in the world of entrepreneurship, because nothing ever goes according to plan.
Very true. A follow-up that you can meditate on while I answer is, how is what you're doing to protect yourself also harming you?
Okay.
Think about that. Okay. For me, I protect myself through humor. Like, I find myself, when I'm in uncomfortable situations, or if I don't understand the concept, or if I'm just feeling a little bit uncomfortable, I will either make some type of joke, or I'll even, like, I don't know, I feel like I'll just put myself in a comedic stage, right, rather than a serious stage. And you're saying that's because when we get into little tips, I'll be making jokes?
I literally thought about the time. So fun fact.
I promise you this isn't going to be fun.
This man.
Thank you for coming to the podcast. Go ahead and come next week.
Oh my gosh, I just thought about, like, we're thinking about life being a movie. Playing the scene where this man, you know, we have a very lovely love story, right? But every love story has its hiccups. So at some point, this man did break up with me. Obviously, you see, we got back together, so no harm. I don't want to say no
we
harm.
telling y'all our code words. We telling y'all our love story. This the episode right here.
But at some point, he did break up with me, and I remember sitting in the car. If I could watch that as a fly,
it was a movie.
It was a movie. It was a movie. But there was so many times when you tried to like make a joke or something, and I just remembered like I'm like like trying to like laughing, but like why am I laughing? You just broke up with me. And then at some point you're like, so you want to go upstairs and eat a hot dog? And then I did. Like, who does that? I went upstairs and we ate a hot dog, and I'm just like eating the hot dog. Like, as I look back at that, I'm just like, yeah, it's actually funny when I look back at it now, but in the moment that was. Anyways, yeah, that's what came to mind.
Write the script. One of these days we're gonna write the script. Yeah, it's gonna be Hitch 3. Oh, it's gonna be funny. But yeah, I feel like I put myself in comedic personality whenever I feel like I need to protect myself. And I feel like answering the second question that I want you to answer next is how does that put you in harm's way? Is I think being the comic relief isn't always the person I want to be in a meeting, right? If we're in a meeting talking to a school district and I feel like I need to protect myself and I start making jokes, now the school district may be like, who's this guy? Right. This is the dude that you want to come teach financial literacy. This is the guy you want to come to do the X, Y, and Z. Contract loss, right? So I've been trying to train myself to understand and realize when I feel uncomfortable to not give the usual reaction that I give and to really be in the moment and be like, okay, who are you right now, Devon? Right? This is Devon, Play Black Wall Street, talking to a school district. Make sure you are presenting yourself the way that you should in this situation. Right. And I feel like that's dancing around inauthentic, but at the same time, I feel like my authentic self being in a protecting myself situation is a trained behavior that I've learned over the years. So
the same way like a customer service voice, right? That I put on, right? It's subconscious. You just do it. It's something you've trained yourself to do. It can be hard to break that habit, but it does serve a purpose. So
I still want to keep the comedy, right? Humor is still definitely who I am, but I need to realize that I can't lean on comedy all the time in specifically professional situations.
So for me, I feel like the me trying to like stay in the lukewarm zone of my emotions does keep me in a good place most of the time, but I think where it can hurt me is in my ability to manage my emotions, to put it plainly. So that when I am in those spaces, sometimes it does take me a little bit longer to even figure out like, how am I feeling? Why am I feeling this way? And then having that be a part of the response. It's like, sometimes I literally am just like, I'm feeling some type of way. Like I use that phrase because sometimes I don't really know what I'm feeling. I just know I'm feeling something. And it really just takes me to like, all right, let me go on a walk. Let me figure out like, how did we get here? Like what action happened, or what did I read, or what happened that brought on this emotion, and kind of work backwards. So I feel like that is something that I definitely in my adult life I'm coming to realize a little bit is I got some work to do with just knowing myself and my emotions and like what triggers I have and things like that. So I think without going through those ups and downs, it can be hard. Like practice makes perfect, right? If you practice, okay, I'm in a bad place. What do I do when I'm in a bad place, right? If you practice that, you'll get good at it. So when life happens and now you're maybe not having the best day, you can turn that around quickly and learn to like not have something ruin your day. I'm not there yet, but I'm working on it. But I think that that's something that can be hurting me, is me trying to avoid getting into those highs and lows does make it harder for me to manage those emotions when they do come.
So let us know what y'all think, right? What do you do to protect yourself? Go ahead and leave that in the comment, or you can send us a DM. But something that I think is interesting, perspective, right? It's interesting. Will Smith reacting violently in protection, who was he protecting?
His wife.
Or was he protecting himself?
And yeah, I have heard that take, or I've read that take as well, because he laughed first and then reacted.
Yeah.
You know, there are some folks who say like he was really just saving face for himself.
Yeah.
You know, so that he could say that he protected his wife and he wasn't laughing at his wife while his wife was, you know, hurting next to him.
Right. Could have protected himself from his wife, could have been protecting himself from what social media would say to him if he didn't, quote unquote, protect his wife. So a lot of stuff. And again, no judgment, not saying what was right, what was wrong, just trying to analyze situations, figure out what are things that we can learn from this. And what Devon's learned is, one, Sinclair doesn't always need violence, but sometimes Sinclair needs that violence, and we're going to come up with the code
weird.
word.
Sinclair needs that violence
In reaction.
If I'm being physically harmed, yes, I would want you to step in and protect me.
Violently, yes. No, that's. Am I getting something wrong? I want to understand.
I just feel like
you're being attacked. I should attack them. That's
yes.
Okay, violently. Okay.
You're just adding that word in there. Just get it done. But you don't have to
violently
sing like.
No, you don't want to sing.
No, I don't want to sing. I don't want to sing.
Right.
Least amount of casualties as possible, please.
Okay, so one casualty.
Oh, Lord.
For sure. Speaking of which, serious tone, because that word triggered this.
Same thing happened when I said it.
Yeah, serious tone. Please, pray and send blessings to the families in Sacramento. There was a mass shooting out there this morning, I believe, with some people injured and some people lost as well. So definitely prayers out to Sacramento. We have some people out there, have family out there. So definitely praying for y'all. Very, very serious note. Please stay safe. Violence is happening, right? We started talking about violence kind of in a comedic way through the Oscars, but real violence is also happening every single day in the streets as well. So please, y'all, stay safe out there, and please don't respond or don't react violently, because sometimes that can cause more violence, right? So praying for the families.
And again, on a very serious note, still, like, what can we take from all of these situations is really think about, right? We talked about protection being proactive. So really think about it. If this has not sparked anything between you, your spouse, your family, think about how do you protect yourselves? Like, okay, let's really have this be a trigger for sorry, I don't saying those words, but how can this be
a catalyst?
A catalyst, thank you, for what happens if you hear some shots outside. Like, does your family know what to do? What happens in an earthquake? What happens in a fire? Like those types of things that you don't always know when they're going to happen. Make sure that your loved ones are prepared for those moments. So that you don't have to react and figure out in the moment.
Right. Like, we literally have a game plan. When there's a big earthquake, all the phones go out, there's no power, and the quote unquote end of the world is coming. We know where we're going to meet each other if we can't contact it.
Yep.
Right. Which seems far-fetched, but one, we watch a lot of movies. So we just want to be prepared for anything. So y'all should have that plan in mind. Last question before we wrap up this episode, Queen, is how do you proactively protect our marriage? All right, and I have an answer for me if you want to noodle on it a little bit, but how do you protect our marriage? All right. For me, it's how I engage with other women.
Yes.
I'm a yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you, miss, like type of person. They can be younger than me, they can be older than me, they can be my age. I'm saying yes, ma'am in text messages, emails, because I don't want anything to be misconstrued in this relationship, right? And I think we've seen in celebrity world, but also in just like regular people world, a lot of people get caught up in how they treat women outside of their marriage, and I don't want that to happen to me. So if you hear me say yes ma'am to you, or how you doing ma'am, all that stuff, one, yes, it's out of respect, because that's how I was raised. Thank you, granny, dad, mom, appreciate you. But it's also out of protection of myself as a Black man in these professional settings or personal settings. I want to make sure I'm not calling you anything that can be even construed as disrespectful, right? Ma'am, while it may not be flattering to you, it is a sign of respect almost no matter what. Right. So that's something that I do.
Yeah. I had a couple things that come to mind. I definitely have some things that I do, and I'm like struggling with how to say it because it's literally going to open up a whole other can of worms on a whole other topic. But
next episode.
Right. But like, I'm very cautious of even like how I smile at other men, like just because anything can be misconstrued these days on, you know, seeing as flirting or whatever. So I'm just like, anytime I sense, like, because you know, as women, we have that sense, like if someone's looking at you, right? If someone's looking at you up and down, or it's, you know, this like a lot, they getting ready to come say, I purposely do something to like move my hair, scratch my face, or like move my hair behind my ears so they could, you know, I know the ring is visible, I know you see it, so I want to make sure you see it, like stuff like that. But then also, I always come to you first. I feel like whenever something happens. Whenever something happens, whenever really whatever the situation, like I always just make sure that like we're a unit. I come to you first for everything. How are we going to respond? How are we going to handle this? Because we do. I mean, anybody that knows us knows that we are that annoying couple that like we do
that matches on accident. I promise
this was not planned.
This was not planned at all.
Oh, look at my shirt. Look at us. But yeah, we do everything together, and it. Like we even my own parents get annoyed.
Oh, the whole opening gifts.
They got us gifts from their trip. They just got back from Washington D.C. and they got us gifts. And my mom handed me my gift, and I went to open it, and then I stopped. And my dad was like, "What's wrong? Open it." And she was like, "No, she's waiting for his gift. You know, they do this. They do everything together." But it's like, I don't know, we just like experiencing things together. So yeah, long story short, when pretty much anything happens, or when I need advice, or when something happens, like I always just go to you first so that we can figure out. I never want someone else to know something before you do. That's like, if you heard about something from one of your friends, like, oh, didn't you hear the Claire? Like, that would be what? How does that make me look? How does that make us look as a marriage? So yes, I think just always making sure that we do have a unified front. You know, however we may handle something doesn't mean that we both agree on, or it doesn't mean that that's how both of us maybe think, but we've agreed that this is how we're going to handle the situation, and then we both act accordingly. So, I think that that's one of the ways that I protect our marriage.
Love it. Well done.
If you're just listening, you really got to get on this YouTube so you can see our cool handshake.
But I also wanted to say, I feel like when you build up trust, and I was gonna look for it, but I don't feel like reading it. When you build up trust, I feel like it helps you later on. I got I don't know if it was a text message or a DM, some message from some woman saying like, "Thanks for last night, some. Can't wait." I was like, "Huh? I was here."
Right.
What's going on? Sinclair, look at this text message I just got. What is going on here? And I felt comfortable being able to show that message without being like,
right.
Are you sure? Type of situation. I was like, goodness, what is this text message? Yeah, they coming. Grandy said, and Denzel said, like, when you reach this pinnacle, right, the devil's going to start coming for you. They're going to come in different ways, in different disguises, different angles, and you have to be ready. Start protecting yourself now. Speaking of which, Grandy wanted us to slap this spider.
Oh, yeah. That was funny.
You thought I was going to forget? She was like, can you go outside and kill this spider real quick? Just slap it one time.
There is a little bit of background. There's a gigantic spider outside. It's not there anymore. So someone might have slapped it
violently.
There's a huge spider that we kept walking past. I have a fear of spiders, but he has changed my heart. Before I would have slapped the out of that spider. But before, now he's like, oh, it's a living creature. Oh, don't kill living things. So I'm like, okay, unless it's like in the house, I would say if it's in the house, it's fair game. It's me or you, I choose me.
Agreed.
But if it's outside, you know, I let it be. But, you know, we were giving the advice to slap the spider.
One of the rules of my art is respect all living creatures. All right. So appreciate y'all for tapping in again. Make sure y'all like and subscribe, whether you're listening or watching. We appreciate it. And y'all know we're taking this podcast to new heights very, very soon. So keep on rocking with us and keep giving us your feedback, because we do take it to heart, and we make changes if the changes are needed. Queen updates. Go ahead and let the people know what you got popping.
Yes. So we still have the Queen to Queen 90-day weight loss formula. We still are looking for a couple queens out there who want to join the beta program. This is an exclusive group. You get 50% off of the program price. It will never be this cheap again. So go to queencoaching.com, book your free discovery call. That's just where you talk with me and we make sure that you're right for the program's right for you, and it's going to be a nice fit. And then the last thing is also I have an accountability group that I'm starting. So if you're out there, maybe you're not quite ready to pay for a package, but you know you got a goal you're trying to reach and you just want somebody to help hold you accountable, you can join my free accountability group, and that will be available on Instagram. Actually, I think I'm going to add it to the website too. So you can find it on the website by the time you hear this. queencoaching.com, and sign up for the free accountability call.
Love it. As y'all know, we have our launch your accountability calls every single Friday at 7 a.m. If you are a 9-to-5 worker with a good idea, if you're the entrepreneur looking for a supportive community, tap in every Friday, 7 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We're talking about social media. We're talking about your core ideologies. We're talking about your brand. We're talking about how to use Shopify, Printful, all that stuff. So tap in every Friday. You can go to www.launchitcommunity.com. If you don't got your book, make sure you get your book, but you can tap into the accountability call for the free. Another update is we are sold out of Play Black Wall Street or Black Wall Street, the board game, second editions sold out. You can still go to the website. You can pre-order for June, but no more second editions right now. We still do have masterpiece editions. So if you're just like, man, I really want a game, I wanted something for this Friday to play with the family, you can still head to playblackwallstreet.com, get yourself a masterpiece edition. They are on sale for some price. Go check it out. Go to playblackwallstreet.com and see what the price is hitting for this week. And they're only on sale while the second editions aren't available, because the queen knows it pains me not to be able to give y'all the games right now, right? I don't like selling out, but doing some cost of goods analysis and all that good stuff that we're doing these days, apparently it's good to sell out. It makes your business look better on paper. We're learning, we're growing. So we're sold out right now. More games are on the way.
They are on the way.
They're literally on. They're on the way, right? Make sure you go ahead and get you a masterpiece game today. Playblackwallstreet.com or pre-order yourself a second edition. Queen, anything you would like to say before we get out of here and eat some food?
Oh, I'm hungry. I ain't got nothing else to say.
There it is. Well, thank y'all for tapping in. We appreciate you. Again, my name is Devon Truvel, creator of Black Wall Street, the board game.
I'm Sinclair, a.k.a. the Health Nerd.
We hope y'all stay healthy. We hope y'all stay mentally wealthy. And of course, we hope y'all stay true.
Thank you for tuning in to the True Health Forever podcast. We hope you learned something valuable that you can take and implement into your life. Now, we've all heard that sharing is caring, and this podcast is no exception. If you enjoyed this episode, please share it with a friend, a family member, a coworker, a stranger walking down the street, anybody who you think can level up from this message. As always, we appreciate your support, and we'll talk to you next week. Be well.